a lot of relaxations have also been announced for red zones. Now, what is your own sense? Are city-wise and state at the state level, is your party ready to bring in these kind of relaxations to allow economic activity even in the red zones?
No, it's very simple. A red zone will still remain an isolation area where no activities are being permitted. An orange zone is one where you have and you can experiment with some limited activities. A green zone is something like free to go. That's how the nutshell it is. But putting this across, and I believe that, or we believe that, the guidelines given by the center has put the maximum onus and responsibility on the states to take a call, and wherein each and every state, depending upon their districts and the status quo, has to take a call, which essentially means that the A intersection B will definitely lead to A union B in mathematics. I'm putting it this way: if you are allowing activity in the green zone, wherein the parameter is only based on the doubling rate and the number of tests, wherein there is no benchmark like what is the number of tests you should do or what is the percentage of population that you should take into account. That is more important based on your containment zones. And what will happen if tomorrow a green zone gets converted into a red zone? What will happen to it? And what will happen to the exploration of cases that happens in a green zone? And if at all, if there is a green zone which strives hard to remain as green zone, wherein a red zone migrates to an orange zone, and what will happen to those if there is an explosion in the orange zone? So I would say that the responsibilities are being larger to the state and as well as to the district, and this in the longer run has to be meticulously planned out. But in the end, definitely we might expect that after 2 weeks of lockdown, you might still see a lot of more notifications and statements coming up from the center.
Yes, no, so let me say this, and I will rephrase this, Kovai. For example, the center did issue a set of guidelines a couple of weeks ago about allowing shops to open up, which are not in malls and which are not in marketplaces. But we've not seen that happen in most part of the country because the state governments and the local administration have been largely apprehensive to allow that. If, in fact, if anything, in more parts now we are seeing shops opening only for a limited amount of time, for 2 to 3 hours. So what I am trying to understand from you right now is, irrespective of what the center has announced, should we be prepared for the similar situation to continue even for a large part of Tamil Nadu as we are seeing right now?
See, Tamil Nadu had majority into red zones, barring one district out of 37. So today we have 24 districts which have turned orange, and 12 districts are in red and one into green zone. My point is pretty much simple. Chennai is being declared as a red zone long back, but with the number of tests being increased, you can see the number of cases increasing as well. So my point is, tomorrow, if there are test measures which is being done in the green zone and where you see positive cases coming in greater than 15 and less than 25, suddenly then you have to take that green zone into a red zone. The question here is how people will cope up with sudden change of announcements and how their livelihood will change. You slowly start economic activity and you start giving jobs to the people, particularly to the unskilled people in the green zone. By any chance that green zone turns out into a red zone, it's a hypothetical scenario. It may happen. You cannot say that it might not happen. Despite your containment measures, that despite with people adhering to the norms of social distancing, let's assume that they adhere to norms of social distancing. But if there are tests being conducted inside a green zone to keep it green zone, if it turns to a red zone, then you have to change the entire scenario of that particular district, which is very hard to implement. Given a green signal to go ahead of some activities and then calling them back to say that no, you cannot do this, then again wait for an X amount of period to again make it into a green zone. These type of exercises are very, very difficult to implement. Practically, I am saying. So that's the reason I'm saying the announcements or the guidelines given by MHA, I think it still needs larger, more picture taking into consideration of the stakeholders. And there is one important thing which everybody is missing. It's almost
Yes.
2 months. Every state is running high and dry on finance. Every state has put up their best possible estimates to the center and awaiting for the center's clarity. So until and unless there is a financial package which has been released to the respective states, they can't keep the numbers floating. They won't be able to implement the welfare schemes that the state envisaged to do for their citizens, to keep the economic activity buzzing, to keep the welfare of the people buzzing, at the other side fighting the COVID in a large scale. So this has to happen parallelly. So I would say that the earlier the center releases the economic package and give a clarity on the economic package, the states will be in a better position to take a call considering their red zones or orange zones or green zones or whatsoever it is.
Okay, Kovai Satyan, thank you so much for joining us with your reaction.